it occurred to me that usually for Toycember, I would do something more along the lines of, like, small things, like things that wouldn't take me a whole 10 minutes to cover. And usually that involves throwing in some kind of blind box collectible that I had gotten over the course of the previous year. So, you know what? We need to do a little bit of that. But because this is like the unofficial Toycember XL, I am going to throw two of them at you just so we can get this a little bit more diverse and show you a little bit more per video. And we're going to be doing Re-Ment's Vintage Collections Type Steel. So they do a bunch of these. In this case, the idea here is to combine a Pokemon figurine with some sort of antique type thing that kind of fits in with them. You know, there's like a Lucario on a phonograph, for instance. Well, here we are looking at an Aggron, one of my favorite steel types ever. This massive tank of a T-Rex Triceratops looking boy. Absolutely awesome Pokemon. So let's see how the figurine came out. So for something that came out of a blind box, things are looking pretty good. Top of the mouth is painted a different color than the tongue. So they paid attention to that. Eyes are the correct color. The nostrils are painted in, as are the sides of the helmets. Even the creases around the helmet have like a little bit of black to make them look correct. Very good attention to detail across the Aggron. I would say like maybe like I could use a little bit more of a difference between the silver of his armor and the gray of his actual body. It's much more of a stark contrast in the video games, so the figurine does come up a little bit inaccurate in that, as I try very hard to adjust it so you can see that better. Yeah, I like the action pose. It is stomping through. It is roaring. It's got its arms out. It is ready for anything at the moment. Yeah, just a good look all the way around. So he is crushing a toolbox, as you can see. You see little scraps of what look like tin roofing that he is stomping through. Little bits of steel poking out from inside the box. It's done pretty well itself. It's got a little bit of like a weathered, hammered look, so, you know, it looks like an old toolbox. I will give it credit for that. Yeah, it just looks cool. Like, it's a good shade of red. It's very classic looking. And then, yeah, just random scrap just strewn about underneath his feet. The plaque, Boss Godora. That's actually a pretty cool name. It's a boss. God is in the middle of that. And frankly, Dora is something I associate with Jew monsters. So I will admit I'm not totally familiar with what its meaning in Japan is. Its meaning over here is a young girl who explores with her talking map. So the figure itself, pretty good. Though we are going to point out something that is acutely obvious, aside from the fact that I just realized the horns on this thing are ridiculously sharp for something that is probably designed to be a kid's figurine. Aggron is somewhere around 7 feet tall. This is a gigantic toolbox. So you imagine, like, if this is a 7-foot tall Aggron and a human at 6 feet would come up to about there. Whose toolbox is this? Who needed a toolbox big enough to hold aluminum siding in it? I'm confused here. Aesthetically, it's a choice. It's a silly choice, but you know what? I mean, it's a innocent little collectible, so I'm not gonna harp on it too bad. Pretty good, pretty good. But I did say one of my favorite steel types was my favorite steel type until Gen 9 changed everything. Behold, my favorite steel type, and indeed my second favorite Pokemon ever, Tinkaton. Now, we are going for the exact opposite aesthetic. The Aggron is ready for a fight. He is in full come at me bro mode. We catching Z's over here. Tinkaton has had a day. She needs her nappies. So, It's a very, very different vibe over here. Though, ironically, she is also on a toolbox, though far more in scale with her, I find. But she is done pretty well. You've got pink plastic and then lots of paint to get her hair and arms correct. The big feature here, obviously, is her hammer, which is done about as lovingly as you can make this improvised gigantic hammer made of corviknight husks. It's a really, really cool figure. I like all the metallic on the hammer. They made sure that it really did look like a piece of metal. You can see just like airbrushing between the purple and the steel, almost like it's been heated or oxidized somehow. Like, it's a really, really nice finish on a really, really big hammer. Toolbox itself is a different color. We've got more of a steel blue, which, it's okay itself. I should point out these hinges actually work. You can just, take the Pokemon off and then just like kind of like for some reason, you can close up the toolbox. Well, at least you can on one side. I'm not entirely sure why. That's an option, but it is. Without Tinkaton in the way, you can see just how much scrap there is. It's a lot of screws, bolts, there's a few wrenches sticking out of there, but for the most part, yeah, it's just metal to chill on. You got it. Like, Tinkaton is just a different breed, right? Like, Tinkaton will just beat anything with a hammer and then just go to sleep on a pile of screws. That's built different. This is why I love her. And then Japanese name on the front, Deka Nuchan. I'm not going to even pretend to know what that means. All I know is she is both cute and frightening at the same time, napping on top of a box of scrap metal. So, this is basically what you are in for when it comes to the Re-Ment Vintage Collection. You get a little bit of antique design, and you get a little bit of, traditional Pokemon figurine stuff. They are done exceptionally well. I'm very satisfied with them as blind boxes. I could have showed you the third box that I pulled, which ended up being a Goldango. But I don't care about Goldango, so guess who's going to end up on eBay next time I get the chance to actually add things to eBay. But for now, two of my favorite steel types of all time. Great pair to have on the desk. And that's going to be it for today's Toycember. Thank you for joining me. Stay tuned. I think I've got a double shot for you tomorrow. And again, it might be metal related.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.